A very good morning to all the students of class 12th political science. And students, as you know, we were doing the third chapter of your book, that is Contemporary World Politics, and the name of the chapter is New Centers of Power. So in this particular chapter we were reading those centers which could challenge the supremacy or the dominance of US. As in the previous chapters we read about the bipolarity, end of bipolarity, and then US hegemony. So after reading all that, we realized that now it was a time that there should be some alternative centers which could challenge the dominance and the monopoly of US at the world platform. So for that we had studied something important about European Union, which was one of the emerging economic and political association. Then we studied about ASEAN. Okay, then we studied about China, that is increasing economy of China, which can be a challenge for US in the coming years. And today the other organization which we are going to discuss, which have the capability and capacity to challenge the dominance of US, is SAARC. Okay, its full form is South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. In short, we call it SAARC. Okay, this is coming under the topic peace and cooperation. So we are trying to talk about the peace and cooperation which can be brought out in this region of South Asia. Okay, so before I move forward, I will show you in the map that we are talking about which area and which are the areas we have already discussed as one of the emerging new centers of power. So with the help of the map I will show you South Asia. But before that, just an introduction to that. South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, that is SAARC, is a regional initiative among South Asian states. So this is a particular regional association, particular region and a particular countries of that region, and those two are the countries and neighboring countries of India. Those that region is called South Asia. Okay, total there are 8 countries. Previously in the beginning there were 7 countries. In 2014 Afghanistan has also joined this association, which took the total membership to 8 members. So it was formed in 1985. And why it was formed? For the cooperation and for the economic growth and development, and to make this region of South Asia a prosperous growing area which can challenge the dominance of US. Same like there is a threat to US from European Union, from ASEAN, from China's increasing economy. In the same way we wanted that this area should also pose a threat, and this area had the capacity, but still it had some limitations. We'll talk about that in by the end of the chapter or this topic. Okay, so before I move forward, let me show you in the map the location. Okay, so this is the area we are talking about when we are talking about SAARC. These are the, if this is a South Asia continent, so to the south of this continent is the part that is India and its neighboring countries. Okay, so Pakistan, Afghanistan, Nepal, Bhutan, okay, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh. So these are the 8 countries, I would say, which are the part of SAARC. So we are trying to make a regional organization here, or we are talking about this regional organization which can, with the mutual understanding, can grow economically, politically and economically. Okay, and it can also be a new center of power. That is, we are studying this topic also under new center of power. Okay, and this is the region which we have already covered when we were studying about ASEAN. Okay, Association for Southeast. This is Southeast Asian and this is South Asian. Okay, so this is SAARC, this is ASEAN. Okay, about China we have studied. Okay, then about European Union, this is a part of European Union. You can see this we call as Europe. The countries from this part is called European Union, and the other we will be studying is about BRICS. So some countries will include BRICS, like B for Brazil here Brazil. Okay, South Africa, India, China, Russia. So these will countries will form the other new center of power that we will discuss, that is BRICS. Okay, but just now let's focus on this part, that is India and its 7 neighboring countries, we can say, forms the SAARC region. And we are talking about the this particular region, that how it can be a new center of power which can challenge the dominance of US equally like European Union, ASEAN and China. So this is the 5th part, as I told you, from the chapter New Center of Power, SAARC. And I have shown you in the map now South Asian region you have seen. So this South Asian region for regional corporation, from the word you can see why this association was formed, for for the regional corporation, that in a particular region all the countries they can cooperate together to make a big economy and they can grow, and this area can be prosperous. Okay, and it was formed in 1985 onwards. It consists of 7 members, but later on in 2014 These 7 members became 8 members at Afghanistan had also joined this particular association in 2014. So there were total 8 members now, and this was formed to encourage mutual harmony and understanding. So these all the 8 countries, neighboring countries of India, we can say, they can have a mutual understanding, mutual harmony, and they can promote peace and economic development, which are mutual understanding all together. If we have to move together, you must have heard of the thing that is unity is very important. Unity is our strength. If we are united, we can challenge any dominant power. But if we have differences amongst ourselves, internally we are weak, we cannot fight with the other outside world. So if these 8 members, they united, they somehow they reduce their conflicts, differences with discussions and diplomatic negotiations, we can say. So this region can also become a very important, powerful regional organization. But still, let's understand what were the other things important. Then SARC has initiated SAFTA. Now, other thing is important. They have initiated SAFTA, South Asian Free Trade Agreement. So, amongst these 8 countries, they have signed an agreement. Through this agreement, this organization has come up. That is South Asian Free Trade Agreement. It means amongst these countries, there will be trade that will be free. There will be no taxes, no tariffs on the basis of moving from one country to another country. So, it will be a free trade area amongst these 8 countries to free trade zones the whole Asia for collective economic security. So there can be a collective economic security in all the countries. SAFTA was signed in 2004. So for the very first time they had signed this agreement, all these countries, in 2004, with an idea to promote peace and cooperation, because they thought if we'll make these areas free trade areas and we can travel from one country to other country freely and will not have to pay any trade taxes or any tariffs, this will promote peace and cooperation among these countries of South Asia. Okay, with the help of free trade across the border, it means with the help of the free trade across the border, they can promote peace and cooperation and mutual understanding and respect for the sovereignty of each individual nation. All this can happen if this leads to, because of free trade. Okay, so this was the idea, basic idea behind the organizing this SAFTA in 2004, although it became functional in 2006. It was established, it was signed in 2004, but it became operational from 2006. Okay, and SARC has also projected on economic development of its member states to reduce their dependencies. And the reason why they have formed this group, that is SARC, and why they have formed within this SARC, they have formed SAFTA, that is free trade area. The reason behind is they don't want to be dependent on any other developed countries. As we know, during the Cold War also there were two, we can say, alliances: Eastern alliances, Western alliances, and most of the smaller countries which were economically weak were joining these alliances so that they can get the security, they can get the financial help, they can get the support of the superpowers. But now here these countries of South Asia, they wanted that we should have a mutual understanding, we should grow together, we should have trade in such a manner that we can promote peace and we can show the cooperation in this particular region, and this region can be a successful region, so that we will not depend on the outside developed countries for any of the commodities or any of the helps or any support. Amongst each other, amongst these 8 countries, we can have such a system in place where we can promote and help and support each other without interfering in the internal matters. We can have a good mutual understanding. So this was the idea behind putting up this association, South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, so that the dependence, they could end the dependencies of these countries on the developed countries. Like most of our countries, they are dependent of China, Russia, US, okay, France. So these are the countries we are always looking up to whenever we talk about the technology or any financial help or anything. So we wanted to end these dependencies so our region can grow. So the next topic is limitations of the SARS. It means in the from the very beginning, I'm trying to say that if we had negotiations, we could have resolved our conflicts and tensions among the member countries of SARC as India and its neighboring countries. And you know it very well. Every day we read in the newspapers, we see in the news channels, there are so much conflicts between India, China, Pakistan. There are so many boundary issues, okay, relating to sometime water, sometime land boundaries. So various issues are there between these countries. So there are that is why I'm telling that this area, this region that is of South Asia, where it is consisting of 8 countries, this had a capacity and it can easily be a great economic power in terms of trade and everything. In terms of its military, it can be a powerful association, but they do not have mutual understanding. They do not have the stability, we can say, because of the differences amongst these member countries. Okay, so that is why we are talking about now limitations of SARS. What are the constraints and what are the barriers on the way of this association, which is stopping this SARC from becoming a more dominant organization, same like EU or ASEAN? It can also grow as fast as EU has evolved and ASEAN has evolved, but there are certain limitations in the way of SARC. Although it has a capacity, no doubt it has a capacity, and it is capable of being one of the most important organization which can challenge the dominance of US. But along with that, we have to understand what are some of the limitations which is stopping SARC, and it is important. That is why we are reading it under the new centers of power. It is a new center of power, but there are some limitations which is stopping it, which are pushing it back. So let's talk about those limitations. The first is, due to the political differences, conflicts, SARS could not be a success. So clearly they have written it can be called as a failed organization also till now, although it can be a successful organization in future if we resolve our conflicts amongst the member countries. But till date it cannot be called as a successful association because of their political differences and conflicts. We have seen in this region of South Asia there are so many problems, internal problems, external problems. Within the countries also there are many times in the situation of civil wars have been there in the past, and India, Pakistan, recently, and every time they are in the news, there are various conflicts between these countries, which is pushing this area back few steps back, because these are the major powers. If you talk about South Asia, India, Pakistan, China, okay, although China is not a part of this, but still India is facing this problem because India is sharing the borders with China and Tibet also. Okay, so and mostly is the problem with Pakistan, we can say. SARC summit led to the bilateral issues on cause. Whenever there is a SARC summit, they all the 8 countries, they meet for the discussion that how can they can promote peace and harmony and cooperate with each other so that they can have a economic growth of this country. Because every association, first of all, the aims at the economic gains and economic growth and development. On the basis of that economic growth and development, they promote their society and their culture. So the first thing is, in their every summit there is a bilateral issue, that is Kashmir issue. So always there will be a debate between India and Pakistan relating to this Kashmir region or the boundary issues. So which is not good for any association when there are two dominant partners and they are interested in the bilateral talks. This was a summit where they could have talked about all the 8 countries and how they can promote their economy, how they can bring prosperity to this particular region. But no, they were always stuck up with this region of Kashmir and the discussion relating to this problem, which was one of the important limitations, I would say, or the constraint on the way of SARC. Some of the India's neighbors feared that India intended to dominate them by influencing their society and politics. Now we said that they had decided to form SAFTA in 2004, and it became functional in 2006. We talked about SAFTA, South Asian Free Trade Agreement or area. Okay, agreement. So this agreement was signed, but here few of the member countries, they thought that India was the most important and economically developing country amongst these 8 countries, and they thought that India wanted to invade the market of the other countries through this agreement. So this SAFTA also could not work properly because the other countries did not had confidence on India's intent. They thought that India wanted to invade the market of these other 7 countries by signing this SAFTA, so that it can have the influence on the societies and politics of the other countries as well through its economic gains in their particular markets. So this was also one of the drawback, we can say, of SARC not becoming a new center of power recently, although we are studying it under this because it has the capacity, but it is not working as it should. And like we can see, in 1997 there was East Pakistan, that is Bangladesh, independence of Bangladesh was formed. In Sri Lanka, 1987, India peacekeeping forces from India went to Sri Lanka. Maldives, 1980, India stopped invasion of Sri Lanka. So here, in all these incidents, for example, we have just taken three incidents where India had shown its dominance. According to the member countries, this was a war between West Pakistan and East Pakistan. India intervened here and held Bangladesh to get independence from Pakistan. Here also in Sri Lanka, India's peacekeeping forces invaded, or we can say interfered, in the internal problems of Sri Lanka when there are problems of Tamils, that is Sinhalas, and mm, and Tamils. And again in Maldives, 1988, India again intervened to stop invasion of Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka was invading this region of Maldives where India held Maldives. So in by these three examples, we can understand that in this region of South Asia, India has always tried to be dominant according to the other regions. So they are not taking it positively; they are taking in the other way, that India wants to become the head or the driver of this region. That is why it is trying to form this group like SARC and SAFTA. Through SAFTA, it is trying to invade its local politics or societies through its market. So these were the drawbacks, we can say. And the last drawback or the limitation, we can say, which is stopping SARC from becoming a superpower or the most dominant economic power. SARC members are from among the developing. So if you see all these 8 members, they are the developing countries, and the developing countries which creates insufficiency of funds, because of which there is always insufficiency of funds. Financial support is not as strong as it should be. This is also one of the reasons SARC is being limited. Okay, although it has the capacity and capability to be one of the new center of power, same like European Union and ASEAN and China we have studied. So here is a short note, we can say, where I have compared this European Union with alternative center of power, that is European Union with SARC, that why European Union is so successful and SARC is being limited. We cannot still call it a failure, because in the future it has the capabilities that it can be a good new center of power. Um, we talk about European Union, we know influence of European Union as a power. Why it is called such a new center of power which can challenge the dominance of US? It is having a common currency, flag, founding date, anthem, well-developed countries like Britain, France, which are also the member of United Nations Security Council. We can see a good bonding, coordination, mutual understanding between the members of European Union. Although also they have some of the developed countries which is helping it financially, also morally, economically, militarily, everything, in every aspect they are becoming stronger. But if we talk about SARC, the major problem is SARC countries have internal conflicts. We have a lot of internal conflicts, and we are not ready to resolve it through negotiations. Although there have been many attempts to resolve these conflicts, but no negotiations have been made till now. And because of these conflicts and tension, this area has limited growth and development, because they do not have the mutual understanding and trust on each other. Their ideologies are different, all the countries. We have developing countries, we have underdeveloped nations. These are some of the important constraints or the barriers on the growth of SARC, but with cooperation in future. But if we cooperate and make negotiations in future, and if we have a mutual understanding, we can promote peace, we can promote harmony along with the growth, economic growth in this area with the help of the trade. So SARC can have its influence around the world. Definitely SARC can have an influence around the world, because this region is very important geographically also. And if these 8 countries start cooperating by reducing their conflicts and tensions amongst themselves, this region has a great future which can be a new center of power. So with this we come to the topic, that is SARC. Now I'm going to discuss about the another new center of power in this video only, that is BRICS. I have taken these notes regarding this BRICS topic from your CBSE notes, which has been provided by the CBSE online. So I'm just reading the limited content, because if we talk about BRICS, it will have lot of data, lot of content, lot of talks to talk about and discuss about. But we have to just see the content which CBSE has sent, because if the question comes, you have to mention the exact content. So talking about the BRICS, okay, it means these countries are Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. So these are the short forms of those countries which makes BRICS. The term BRICS refers to Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa respectively, because as according to the series we have here. But previously it was only called BRIC, BRIC. S was not there. It means South Africa was not the part of this association or this group in the beginning when it was formed. So in the beginning it was BRIC, that is Brazil, Russia, India and China. Okay, it was formed in 2006. So by 2006 it was called BRIC in Russia, and it was formed in Russia. You have to remember the region or the location was Russia, where it was formed in 2006. And this BRIC turned into BRICS. This BRIC turned into BRICS. That is the fifth member joined this group. That is South Africa joined this group in the first meeting in 2009. In 2009, South Africa also joined this BRIC, and now the name became as BRICS. As S means South Africa. In 2009, you have to remember. The key objectives of BRICS are, as when we talk about objectives, mostly the objectives of all the regional organizations are almost the same, except there can be few changes, few unique features, but mostly they have the common features. As we have talked about European Union, ASEAN, SAARC, China, here also they will have one of the same. Here they told that primarily to cooperate and distribute mutual. The thing was, here also they are cooperating. They wanted their mutual understanding where they can grow and develop these countries with their common mutual understanding. But they also decided that whatever will be the profit, that profit will be distributed. Mutual economic benefit will be distributed among all the 5 members equally. You can see here, distribute mutual economic benefits among its members. And besides its economic benefits and distribution of mutual economic benefits, its members also said that non-interference in the internal policies of each nation. And these 5 countries, they are not going to interfere in the internal policies and internal problems of each other. Okay. And mutual equality, it means all the 5 members will be treated equally. There will not be dominance of any particular country in this group. As in the case of USSR, we saw Russia used to show its dominance. It means Russia plus 14 countries. Russia plus 14 countries were the part of USSR. But in this, Russia was the most dominant country which used to show its dominance. But here they decided there will be no dominance of a particular country. It will be mutual equality for each and everyone. Respect, sovereignty for each and everyone. The 11th, so the important data here is, you have to remember, and in 1 mark question it can come because this data is from the CBSC website. The 11th conference of the BRICS concluded. So you don't have to remember the other conference, you have to remember the latest. 11th conference of the BRIC concluded in Brazil. It was held and conducted in Brazil in 2009. So this is the latest data, and this was number 11th conference of BRIC nations held in 2019, before this corona pandemic took place almost. And it was chaired by the Brazilian president, and the chairman of this conference or this meeting was Brazilian president. His name was Jair Bolsonaro. Okay, Jair, Jair Bolsonaro. So you have to remember these contents relating to BRICS, and there can be a short note, or the 1 mark questions can be asked from this, that which were the, when was the 11th conference held for BRIC. So you will have to answer in 2009, chaired by Brazilian president Jair Bolsonaro. So with this we come to the end of this topic, that is BRICS. So with this I come to the end of this topic. Till then, thank you, and we'll continue this chapter in the next videos after your exams. Thank you. Students, I just got confused, and instead of writing 2007, I mentioned 2014 here. So you have to remember the 8th member, that is Afghanistan. This joined this association, that is South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. They joined it in 2007. So you have to remember 2007, not 2014. By mistake, I had written here 2014. So this thing you will have to correct. Okay. Thank you.